Welcome, everyone, to Blood and Iron, Dead Man's Hand. Last we left off, the smattering of individuals that you see on the screen right now are present for Elysium. Elysium being the gathering of all kindred for important announcements, important information swapping, perusing, carousing, engaging with their fellow clan, just about everything that you can think of, as it is, in a sense, a social party. A social party with a hierarchy and rules. But if you're present at Elysium, it is understood that you know the rules, you know the social hierarchy, you know where you fit. Stepping outside of where you fit may cause onlookers, may cause people to question, whether aloud or to themselves, may cause some interesting side effects and consequences. Who you talk to and who you don't talk to are just as important as one another. All of it scrutinized by those around you, your peers, your superiors, your inferiors. And so, the exact moment where we left off is the Prince of Dallas and Fort Worth, Ganessa Warsi, asked for the Dead Man's Hand coterie, who had been an interim primogen for a specific location here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And thus is where we begin. 3 members of the current coterie walk up together after the prince has declared that he wishes to see them directly in front of him. The man in the iron mask has called them forth. And so, you neonates, you stand in front of your prince now. His regalia, in this case being a suit of armor with some possibly old sort of vestments on top. Well kept for potentially how old Prince Warsi is. But the metal of his armor shines, polished, the mask sort of blending in with the helmet and hood that he's wearing currently. With a sword kind of point downward into the floor before him. Just kind of standing there like an idol, like a statue, unmoving. Has been this whole night. And those words to call you forth were the first words that had been spoken by him tonight. And so, you stand roughly 15, 20 feet away from him, him sort of standing on a bit of a platform, specifically for chairs for himself, for the sheriff, for the seneschal, and maybe a few others kind of scattered around nearby for the Primogen Council, as everyone else in the entire room begins to crowd around to listen in to whatever it is that Prince Warsi might say. How do you present yourselves to your prince?
Well, don't just get on my knee for anybody, but I suppose if I'm ever going to have to do so in public, well, this might be a good start. Placing myself down on a knee, lowering my head, because, the old dogs love to end up having that kind of thing going on. Try and make it look convincing. Reality is just going along with the measures. Trying to end up serving as that, how do I put this? A good example. After all, I represent Clan Nosferatu, and Clan Nosferatu has the princedom. Love to end up going into that further, but right now it's all about just playing the part. Delightful.
Alex would quickly follow suit, getting down as much as her dress would allow her. And just really quickly, Coffee, what kind of time period does it look like his armor might be? And region?
I'm gonna say that's an intelligence academics.
Oh, I get to use this. Because I feel like that tells us a lot about who was. Now, my occultist specialty in academics would not come into play here.
No, this is more historical.
Oh, it is a history occultist.
Sorry, what?
It's a history occultist. So occult history stuff.
It's not really occult related though. It's more culture and region that you're thinking of.
Figured I would ask.
Okay. Are you happy with 3?
No, I want to know about this. So I will re-roll.
Nerd wants to be a nerd.
Nerd wants to be a nerd.
Ooh, that's juicy.
I want to know all about this armor.
So, maybe it's a little bit of a hint about the name. The name Ganessa Warsi, that's not necessarily... It's not necessarily American in origin. You get the distinct impression, especially by the armor, that he's more South Asian or Middle Eastern. Probably Middle Eastern to be exact. Medieval era.
Why am I getting distinct Crusade vibes here?
You're probably not inaccurate. Crusades era definitely sounds like it sounds about right.
There is a little light of acknowledgement behind her eyes as she bows her head just a little bit further. Almost like she recognizes that get up.
And based on the sort of decorative wrappings and the sort of vestments that are on him as well, you get the distinct impression of high-ranking, maybe general sort of rank from a medieval crusades sort of a vibe. You've definitely done a lot of your history. A lot of history studying you have done.
Just out of character, I'm getting Fall of Jerusalem sort of a... And if that's the case, ooh, that's a figure.
I would wonder if he was alive or maybe even a fledgling back then.
Makes me wonder if the fact that he's hiding behind a mask might have something to do with some of the diseases that were rampant back then that might have made it a little bit easier for Nosferatu to hide.
Potentially.
Following suit with the rest of the coterie, I'm going to go ahead and take a knee at the other side of Shriek, opposite of Alex. Bow my head just the same.
You hear him say, "Stand."
See to do so immediately upon command.
As well, Alex, although she does keep her head bowed.
You have served this court in the function of Primogen as a coterie well for the short time that you have served that position. But it is time that a new Primogen be set forth. As such, your duties will remain within the Arlington domain. Serving Ian Keller as Primogen.
As you will it, my prince. It has been an honor for Dead Man's Hand to serve.
Am I to understand then that Dr. Ian Keller's domain now has completely expanded throughout Arlington?
Does this concern you?
If it does not concern the prince, then it's of no matter to me.
You brought up the matter in front of court. One should only expect to hear your concerns, Mr. Shriek.
Anna is just exchanging like anxious glances at Shriek. Like, what are you doing?
If I am to end up making such notions or if they are to end up being public, then I will abide by my prince. Dr. Ian Keller has frequently already ended up treating the domain as his own, despite no warning, and has undermined the authority granted by the prince. I have been left to end up wondering at that point, as certain investigations about his involvement of a very delicate matter. One would have hoped we were able to end up concluding our investigation, but him being a point of said investigation puts it into a very interesting light. We were hoping to end up coming with something completely conclusive beforehand. And yet, under Ian Keller's supervision, a pair of what we've thus far deduced Toreador were led to feed upon our, at the time, our portion of the domain. One of which was an organivore who was left to end up causing a myriad of headaches. I won't bore you with the details. But frequently, he had flaunted the rule of domain, going against the decrees of the prince. We were hoping this was a simple misunderstanding here at first, but as it turned into, it was something far more. He ended up causing not only a potential issue when it come down to the needs of feeding in the domain of Arlington, but had also overlooked two kindred within your domain who we were hoping to be able to end up bringing before you after such preparations, and us being able to clear him of any misgivings. But the two children in question, we have not been able to ascertain who it is that ended up siring them. He was well aware of them, allowed them to feed upon our domain, and so has flaunted the need to dismiss your generous offering. So it would not surprise me, I suppose, that Primogen, Dr. Ian Keller, would end up taking the domain unto himself. As he already busied himself to do so. Yet, he's been surprisingly uncooperative in aiding us in trying to end up finding the sire of these two children. We have placed them into work within the domain in order to keep an eye on them and maybe ascertain who it is that ended up creating them, to see them brought to the courts of justice. In hopes... Go ahead.
It is my understanding that Dr. Keller was seeing to their rearing guests, but you, as a coterie, volunteered for the position.
Only after his rearing allowed them to cross the borders of a domain, causing a small massacre, I might add, and having us clean up afterwards. He was of no interest in cleanup nor maintain the masquerade in that regard. His only interest at that time was to end up finding out who their sire was. Our interests were aligned in that. We offered to take him off his hands, as his domain clearly didn't have the adequate resources in order to end up the adequate resources in order to rear those same two. And
yet the
from what
Arlington domain has an issue of feeding on its own, if I recall correctly.
One that we were in the presence of rectifying, and if the Primogen would like to end up continuing to push that particular point forward, he is free to do so with our full support. But nevertheless, a disregard of domain and not being forthright about the situation ended up causing a bit of a heated moment. One that we wanted to ease, to be sure that your domain remained in good hands. And so therein lies my concern. one who has been given primogen despite going against your decree, my prince. And as much as I did not wish to end up bothering the court with such concerns, if it is your wish to know, then it is your wish to know, and I will stay true to your request. As a former primogen should, I suspect.
Interesting points that you bring up. But all has already been considered.
We serve at your leisure, my prince.
Good. Because my leisure would have you ousted from the position immediately. As you all have been nothing but a nuisance. Perhaps I appointed you primogen in error.
A prince can never be in error.
Corrected. It stands.
By your leave, then.
The two that you have found are to be returned to Dr. Keller. Proper raising is needed for new fledglings.
I shall do so with haste.
And with that, he continues to introduce Dr. Keller as the new primogen of the Arlington domain, as well as Dr. Keller's former domain, combining the two. Dr. Keller makes a big show of including you all in catching up to speed, the need for information, the need for the additional helping hands will definitely go a long way. The residents of the Arlington domain are free to feed upon the domain of the hospital, and vice versa. And that is where the domain stands as of now.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. If you're wanting to make comments or concerns or questions or talk to each other, because you've been dismissed from the center of attention.
I returned to Shriek's side. Probably far in the back of Elysium.
Yeah, Shriek doesn't want to be in the center right now.
I'm sorry.
For what? What could you possibly be sorry for?
I feel like I should have done more.
What more could you have done, dear Anna? With that cute little button nose of yours. Nice skeletal frame. What could you possibly have done?
I could have spoken up. But
You would have done that, and he would have taken your head off. And that would have been really a loss for me. I knew that the position was temporary. I was unaware on who would end up receiving the position. And with Primogen Keller now in charge, the domain will end up being released into the hands of somebody far more experienced in order to end up upholding the traditions of the Camarilla. And we're going to end up being stuck in with the rest, so... Well, congratulations. I hope that with your small amount of power, you ended up making the most of it.
not really.
Harder than it looks, isn't it?
It is.
Power's a fleeting thing. It's amazing what a few words can suddenly change.
Stability is pretty fleeting, too.
And here... Go ahead.
Once this is over, once Elysium is over, there's something I want to meet with you about later.
We can do it on the drive out. I need to go and pick up a pair of twins and get ready to drop them off. You know, that's the worst part, too. That's the part that really hurts. Our ace in the hole just got torpedoed. My
Sorry.
fault. No, my fault. My fault. It's always mine. Besides, you don't want to hang around too close to me right now. Not in here. I just became, in a few short words, radioactive.
Status is not as everlasting either. We
No.
just learned that tonight. So it's never going to be important enough to me. Not like you.
Anna, don't start getting sappy on me, girl. I might start getting feelings.
Meet me at the theater?
He gives her a nod. And looks out to the rest of the court. This den of vipers and power players and politicians and... Oh, it's just so delightful to watch it all go down. All the whispering, like we're doing now.
As
Sure,
you're
you
looking,
just go ahead.
as you're looking out into the rest of the court, it seems that there is to be some kind of judgment. You overhear the prince talking about something to do with anarchs and a girl, black hair, sort of reddish eyes, black clothes, is pulled by the Scourge and by Cain out into the middle of the floor. The prince says a few words about how she's a traitor, how she's been colluding with those of San Antonio to bring down Dallas. Calls her by name, Katya. You stand before this court guilty of treason. And he takes that sword in a very swift motion, removes her head from her shoulders. A once very pretty girl, now reduced to ash and bone and decaying flesh. And maybe you're paying attention and maybe you're not. Some grandstanding gesture by the prince indicating that those who would undermine his degrees will see their justice.
And when he says that, Shriek is looking across the room directly at Dr. Ian Keller, now Primogen Dr. Ian Keller. Like he's gonna hold Prince Warzy to that.
It does make you curious, though. What could be going on that he'd be forgiven for domain?
I can make a few guesses, but that's all they'd be. Ian Keller might have something on Warzy, or Warzy needs something from Keller. Not sure what Keller holds, but the prince needs it. Needs him alive and needs him put, giving him a bit of domain. Let's be real here. Keller is not in a good place. He got his domain expanded, but he got his domain expanded in a group of known troublemakers. The kind of place that
Nobody wants.
So if I had to guess, what he's really doing is he's setting up Ian for a fall. Anything goes wrong in that domain, it also goes on Keller's head. He has the authority under the prince, but it's also a lodestone. If there's anything we learned about the domain, that's true. I just want him to know that should the ice break, I will be under it. Much as Warzy may not like me, we're gonna have to play along. But hopefully, Prince is true to his word. Till then, Keller, we're gonna have so much fun together.
Once these festivities are concluded, the prince resigns himself to the seat that's been assigned for him. Taking a seat for the first time since the festivities began tonight. sitting next to the seneschal and the sheriff. His mouth hidden behind that mask, you can never know whether or not he's whispering to them or not. They certainly make no indications that he's speaking to them at all. If at all. Only silence between those three is observed. While the rest of the entire room seems to be abuzz. Talk of anarchs, talk of the new Primogen, talk of new members of the court that have been brought in as well, as far as the newly recognized, the guests amongst them, and well, the rest of the room avoiding those who would be considered the ire of the social pecking order. Miss Morn, specifically, keeping most everyone keeping their distance from her, as well, just as Shriek creeps and crawls, so does she. But perhaps there's other reasons that she's avoided. So, what do you do?
Alex is gonna...
Oh, go ahead, please.
No, you go ahead.
Anna is going to head towards Luca.
Towards Luca. Okay.
But please feel free to do Alex's scene.
Okay.
I was gonna say, Alex is gonna do something very bold.
Very bold. Oh.
Hit it.
She's gonna make her way up to stand a little ways away from where Prince Warsi is seated. And she's going to wait patiently for him to take notice and see if he will beckon her.
Okay, so you are approaching the throne, as it were. And Shriek?
Shriek is, unless interrupted, getting ready to head out. He needs to get to the twins and deliver them quickly. And he promised Warzy that he would.
Alright.
So he's going to be doing so. I don't see the reason to end doing a full scene if it's not needed, but
Okay.
he'll be back enough.
Since Alex is probably on purpose, the prince is going to make her wait till he desires. Let's go ahead and see what Anna wants to talk to Luca about, since that seems to happen more immediately. Ah, Miss Anna.
Mr. von Brunhild.
How are you this evening?
Well, you know.
All things considered, of course.
I am unharmed and I am well fed. Couldn't ask for more.
That is perfectly fine to hear.
Yourself? How have you been?
Busy, but otherwise similar state.
That's very good to hear.
We'll be heading back to Edmonton before too long. In fact, I think I will be flying out tonight.
I see. Edmonton is quite a long ways away. So,
One of the benefits of a private jet that moves very, very quickly.
I couldn't imagine.
Well, maybe upon my next visit I'll have to bring you along.
Maybe on your next visit I should have my own private jet.
I wish you the best of luck. It is not easy, that road.
No, I imagine there's a bit of a grind that I am not all too familiar with. But here's to learning. I have eternity to figure it out, I suppose.
That you do.
I wanted to thank you for your time.
Oh. Oh, it was no trouble at all.
I mean, you were very helpful to Arlington as a domain. And I'm sure it was quite out of your way, though you were too polite to say so. The biggest thing, one of my greater regrets is feeling that perhaps Dead Man's Hand had wasted so much of the energy that you invested into organizing our efforts.
I don't feel like it was a waste at all.
Again, you're too polite. I don't really have much else to say other than that. It was a delightful time. I learned a lot.
The pleasure was all mine. Should you find yourself anywhere in Canada, you should give me a ring.
If I remember right, there is a certain Toreador who might not be so pleased with that.
Well...
It's alright.
Good roommates must stick together.
Yes. I think so too.
But that isn't to say that I cannot have my own friends.
Hopefully I can be a worthy ally to you at that time, then. Take care, Mr. von Brunhild. I'm wishing you safe travels.
And to you, Miss Anna. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure was mine. I will, at this point, do a polite bow to him. It's more like a curtsy than anything, but
He gives a bit of a bow in return.
I will take my leave at that point, over to my sire.
Okay.
We'll whisper to each other, notify her that I'm ready. I just have one last thing.
All right.
And we will leave together.
All right. Eventually, Alex, you are noticed by those sitting next to the prince, especially by the sheriff. Kind of looks you up and down as you continue to stand there. But eventually, Prince Warsi does call you forth, quietly.
She would step forward, giving him a deep bow and wait for his permission to speak.
He kind of waves a hand at you, as if beckoning you to speak.
I wanted to thank you, Prince Warsi, for the opportunity that you have given my coterie mates and I for growth and for learning. And I would like to expand upon that growth and learning by asking you if there was anything that my coterie and I could have done to improve our time we had spent serving as Primigenandi. Hello?
Yes. He's just watching you for a moment. This sort of... You see his head moves slightly. Almost quizzically. The only thing you could have improved upon was to be more experienced.
See. In which case, I shall endeavour to pass that along to my coterie mate. And we look forward to expanding upon our experience underneath.
Be observant, as you have been. And you will all learn all that you need to know.
Thank you so very much for your time.
It was perhaps Brocado's failing where you ever came.
I'm glad to hear that we overcame that. We shall endeavour to keep this within that domain. Continue assisting with your rule in whatever way we may.
Good.
Alex will bow her head again. Thank you so very much for your time, Prince.
He doesn't say anything. He doesn't move. Doesn't acknowledge that. Simply allows you to walk away.
And she will step away. And she's gonna make her way over to Raphael.
Over to Raphael. What does Alex want with Raphael Singleton?
How is your night going, Mr. Singleton?
Interesting. A lot of
That's
interesting
certainly-
things happening tonight.
Certainly the right word for it.
Would you describe it any other way?
No, actually.
Hmm.
Interesting is a perfect terminology to happen.
We had a promotion of a primogen. We had the beheading of a traitor. The pomp and circumstance. I would say that this is the best Elysium in probably 100 years.
Certainly entertaining.
Hmm.
Regardless of Coteries' position, I do hope we can continue to work. Certainly enjoy.
Well, the prince did say that you would be maintaining in the Arlington domain,
Indeed.
assisting Primogen Keller. I think we'll still be seeing a lot of each other.
I certainly hope so, Mr. Singleton. I have definitely enjoyed working with you. And I look forward to working with you plenty times more in the future.
I certainly hope so. And with that, he just kind of starts to walk away.
Alex kind of just smirks as she watches him walk away. She's got a few ideas between those two interactions she's just had. And it's starting to solidify something in her mind. Now the question is whether she can put it into words.
Whether indeed.
And from there, she's going to begin to amble amongst those of their domain, talking to whoever wants to talk to her, if they still want to talk to her.
Fair enough. It does bring us, however, to Dorian. Dorian, you've just observed a lot of different things going on in this Elysium tonight.
Yes. I did not expect my first Elysium in this area to be so eventful. It makes me wonder if it's always like this, or if tonight was just something special.
Well, you just saw the Primogen coterie, as they were so politely called, kind of split in their own directions. Shriek going out into the night air. Alexandra kind of meandering around and striking up conversations with the prince and one of the hounds. And Anna seemed to lose herself into the crowd.
It's interesting. For being so young, they were put into a position where most would just fail and fall flat on their face. And given some of the misgivings that they had, I don't think they did terribly. As I heard the prince say, the only thing they did lack was experience, and that is the only way that you can gather this, is by making those mistakes.
Perhaps there's an
But,
opportunity.
There always is. Now, out of character, Coffee, have I been assigned anywhere, or...
No, you're still you are amongst the few in the domain that have been officially released from their sires. Yourself, a couple of others whom you maybe have met once or twice before, but it's always been in the context of your sire. Now you're without a leash. And she's kind of standing next to you still, but has, in a way, tried to venture off into her own conversations, to get to know her clan once more, to get to know who is who in this domain once again, as she has been away for quite some time before embracing you. And, well, embracing you, it kind of tied you both together for some time now. And so she hadn't really had a chance to spread her wings since coming afloat again.
I think it is a nice coming out of, for both of us to, me, Mango, especially some of the others that, newly off the leash, as they say. See, kind of gauge the room and see who would be approachable or who would approach us.
Another of which who was recently released from their sire's sort of leash, but still kind of using their sire as a bit of an advice point, is a man by the name of Aaron Winters. Clan La Sombra, if you remember correctly.
Very interesting.
You both kind of stood before the prince once today, but hadn't really had a chance to have your own conversation without your sires present.
Oh. I would look over to Mr. Winters and gauge when he is ready and approach him.
Mr. Winters, you see one of the fellow fledglings, now neonates, that you were presented next to in front of the prince tonight, start to approach you.
Good evening, Mr. Winters.
Howdy.
And Dorian would extend a hand.
Aaron goes ahead and takes it. He's pretty swift on the draw there. Doesn't skip a beat. You notice he has a pretty strong grip.
It is a pleasure to meet you. I think we're both kind of in the same predicament here. Being new and, well, off the leash, as it were.
Well, yeah, I suppose that's the way to look at it. New and off the leash. In fairness, I don't know about you, but good old Vince there was trying to get me kicked out of his house sooner than he can blink. Trust me. I almost thought he forgot how to.
Oh, man. Well, I think tonight has been quite interesting. I don't know if this is the norm around here or if this was just perhaps a very, fun-filled evening.
No.
I hate to break it to you, but it's a little bit of the norm. At least as far as I've been around. Yeah, lots of excitement always going around here in DFW. Excitement. That's the word, right? I don't
As far
know.
as I know.
What was your name again? Didn't quite catch it.
Oh, forgive me. I'm Dorian Resner.
Dorian Resner.
Yes.
What's like it? You got a band or something?
Mhm. I've hosted a few, but no, I do not quite play myself.
Hosted. Ooh.
Hmm.
Well, nice to meet you, Mr. Resner. You already knew my name. That puts me a little bit out of the loop.
Well, I've tried to do my homework, as it were. Tried to learn people. Never can be too prepared.
That's what they say. You know, that's what they say, but talk around to some of these folks, and I think they prefer being a little bit out of the loop.
Well, the less you know, the less you can get in trouble with.
Ignorance is bliss and all that. Say, who's your maker? Is that lady that was introduced at the beginning, right?
Yes, Liliana.
Liana.
And I'll like look over and smile fondly at her.
She's very pretty. She's got this sort of black hair kind of pulled into a bun. She's wearing a dress that is mostly black, some darker grays and blues, that kind of is reminiscent a little bit turn of the century, not turn of the 20th century or 21st century, the 20th century. A little bit Victorian, a little bit 1900s, sort of a mix.
Aaron just is peeking at her a little bit. You can't really read it on his face, but the thing that he's thinking is, my God, if she was not found in a club or a convention, he would have clocked her immediately. He's not gonna say that out loud or anything like that. He's just like, eyebrow raise.
You've noticed a couple of people in this entire Elysium seem to dress a little bit on the old-fashioned side.
Well, that's what Aaron was saying. He's like, why is this? I heard all. Vince was saying that a lot of the older folk tend to move a little bit on the slow side. But all things considered, this
hard to break, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. Let's be honest. A lot of what goes on around these parts, this court specifically, I guess, is pretty rambunctious. I don't know. Makes it fun.
It certainly is not boring.
So,
I'm wondering where we'll end up.
well, I mean, I know where the hell I'm gonna be ending up. Your lady maker over there, she tell you a lot about her big plans?
We discuss things, but she likes to keep things close to the chest unless I can help.
Nah. I guess that checks out. Yeah, that checks out.
You know what they say, knowledge is power. Guard it well.
Apparently so with secrets.
Goes twice for that. I never really liked secrets, though. Too much to keep track of.
That makes two of us, partner. But, and, Aaron, you see, he pulls up his wrist, there's a watch on it. And it's kind of like icky. The strap is old leather and very well worn. And the watch itself, like the ticker is like, it's still working just fine, but you can see there's like some old age to it. He checks his watch. How long these events tend to go? I got the business I gotta get to.
Well, I won't hold you then. And it was good to have a conversation with you. I'm sure we'll see each other around.
Sure thing, partner. Take it easy. And,
You too.
stay out of trouble.
There's the trick, isn't it?
Damn straight.
It is about that time in the festivities that you both would know that those who want to stay will stay, and those who want to leave are allowed to leave. That oftentimes it is the last portion of the night that everyone begins to wind down and mingle. Maybe have a drink from the reserve if they have the boons to pay for it, or other means. The night is capping off, in a way.
Dorian would somewhat stay within eyesight of his sire, and just make himself available if anybody wants to talk to him, but not overly approach anyone to not step on toes. Try to be as courteous and etiquette forward as he can.
Probably some of the first people that you see that do begin to file out are our Shriek, of course, and then some of the others from what you would know to be the Arlington domain. Some of them start to file out already as well. That those who maybe aren't wanted to be here start to file out.
No,
or are tolerant.
That leaves Aaron a little suspicious. He returns to Vincent. He's just watching all the individual kindred from Arlington head on out. He just kind of like points to the door, like kind of like elbows him, points to the door. So, you said I'm moving in with those lot. Should I also be heading out with those lot?
You got a place all lined up already?
More or less. I mean,
is it more
church.
Or is it less? Be honest with me, Aaron.
It's the church on the border. You know the place.
Okay.
Hell, you found me there.
Right, that one. Okay, I know what you're talking about now. It's kind of coming apart at the seams. You sure that's light-proof?
Nah, nothing but a little elbow grease can't fix. Besides, I got the funds for it. I can make do.
Well, I'm not hand-holding you anymore, but, you know.
It'd be rough if your investment ended up turning to dust right out the gate, huh?
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Not like Katya.
Wait a sec. That one was yours?
Well, I wasn't going to say it out loud.
He just did. Damn. Ain't that a shame?
Well, she's a little somber anyway. We kind of stick together in this city. But yeah, don't end up like her. Don't go meddling with some anarch affairs. It's just looking for trouble.
Not interested. I seen what they did.
Better not. Otherwise, I might come for you myself.
Vince. I seen what they did. And I ain't forget.
Alright.
As far as I'm concerned, Tower's the best chance for a community of monsters, huh?
Yeah, I suppose.
Gotta put a leash on some of these dogs.
That's one way to look at it. Definitely one way to look at it. But seriously, though, you're gonna be fine tonight?
Well, as far as I can tell, I don't see anyone necessarily trying to throw any sort of slander my way just yet. No one quite knows my name. No one quite knows where I'm at. Except you.
Do also keep in mind that even though there might not be anyone nearby to us, there are always ears listening. Best to keep your nose clean.
Just sarcastically rubs nose.
Alright. If there's anyone that you should probably go chasing after in that case, that's gonna be your buddy Shriek.
You mean the one that just got
Just got told by the Primogen to deliver a couple of Toreador to Ian Keller.
Oh. Man, I almost feel bad. And tongue lashing?
Better that than a decapitation.
That's fair. Well, I mean, if that's the case, well, who knows? Maybe he needs friends.
He's known to have a bit of a mouth on him.
Oh, that just makes two of us.
And you'll get along just fine. Get out of here.
Aye, aye, Captain. See you soon. Check in about a week. Just to let you know I ain't turned to chicken fried rice.
Right. I get it. He looks a little confused and then starts to walk away.
I'm hoping he gets it. I don't get it.
So, was Dorian and Alex going to do anything else at Elysium tonight?
Alex
Oh.
is just going to keep working the floor, wandering around, talking to people.
Anyone of note? Anyone in particular? Just saying hi?
Just saying hello, and then she'll probably pick a spot off to the side to sit and stand pretty as a representative,
Mm-hmm.
since the rest of their domain has hightailed it the fuck out, except for Raphael.
Yeah, and he's pretty close to on the verge of skipping out too.
Yeah.
So are most everyone, actually. It's starting to get pretty late in the evening. That some of the other kindred has started to file out as well. So, if no one objects, then Aaron can catch up with Shriek if y'all like.
Yeah, yeah, Dorian's just waiting to see if he's assigned anywhere, or otherwise he would return to his haven for the night.
Okay. Then yeah, let's see what Aaron and Shriek get up to. So Shriek, you're kind of making your way down the streets. Now you don't have a vehicle, do you?
No, I do not.
Aaron, do you?
The rustiest, like, just like beat to shit looking little truck. I have the exact model. Hold on. I chose it.
A rusty little jalopy.
No, it's a truck.
Well,
2010 Ford Ranger. I need you to know the front lights, he just barely changed them. He just barely got them both fixed. We don't know how long that's gonna last.
they're working plenty. Seem to be working plenty fine, because you do see, unless Shriek, you're being hidden in some way.
I don't see any particular reason for it.
Okay. Then yeah, Aaron would see you walking on the sidewalk while he's driving his truck along the side of the road down this sort of offshoot street towards going from the Elysium site towards Arlington, which without a car would take quite a while to walk.
I do as my prince commands.
So Shriek is not hiding.
No.
All right. You hear just the like the shittiest muffler you've ever heard on a truck before in your life. This thing is loud and obnoxious. And he comes to a crawl, and it kind of parks on the street side next to you. Window rolls down, and you see this guy, just this grizzled fellow, very ginger hair, ginger beard, kind of like just blue eyes, and wearing leather jacket. Like he doesn't look like he fits into Elysium or anything like that at all. He leans out the window. Hey, need a ride?
Depends what it costs. I mean, what you into?
Good company. Get him passenger.
Do I remember? I remember Aaron
From the announcements tonight, yeah. One of the new kids.
You know, normally I don't get into cars with strangers, but the princess had requested me get the kids on in, so I guess I gotta bite the bullet. Of course. He opens it up and kind of sits in. I imagine like moving some kind of, I don't know, something off the seat that best not be mentioned. Um, Trying to end up getting comfortable at that point as he ends up closing the door and just listens to this thing threatening to shake apart at a moment's notice.
It rattles. It rattles uncontrollably, and you're not sure how long this thing's going to stay in one piece.
Yeah. Car revs again. Drive down the road. Keeping to speed limit. So, how you holding up after that little end over?
Just looking out the window, just watching the city for a minute. Takes him a minute before he even turns to acknowledge Aaron. What am I supposed to end up saying? That everything went swimmingly?
No, not expecting that at all.
Okay, so
Just
what's the expectations?
Just checking to see how quick you are on your temper tonight. Probably not great, but
Well, you know, nothing strangling a kid in the crib wouldn't help.
well, at least you got the spirits.
No.
Not any of the good ones, of course, but the spirits.
At this given point, I have to end up delivering 2 kids to a Elysium that, all intents and purposes, is probably going to end up getting them killed. Whereas he has a taste for blood and has a tendency to want a bit more than one head an evening. Well, usually I can sympathize with that. Usually mine gets a little less messy. Ironically,
I can't exactly say he's charming.
he is Prince of the City and all do here position and ends up maintaining an order that ends up keeping us all nice, safe, and in check. His wisdom is not to be questioned, and to end up making sure that we end up maintaining loyalty unto the city in these horrible times of crisis, which we will ever be grateful for his infinite patience and wisdom.
You just don't want to throw the 2 babies out with the bathwater. I get you. Hard decisions.
Whatever happens to them is outside of my hand. And Ian already has his pardon. Our dearest new primogen is going to end up bringing them about, probably end up scraping one of their brains out in order to poke at it, to end up seeing what ticks, hoping to jog a memory that's probably long since been bleached out. And, it's just all kinds of fun from there. I just got to end up watching an atom bomb be dropped on Arlington. This is going to be all kinds of fun. Thought you had an anarch problem beforehand. It's about to get 10 times worse.
Well, can't say I fully comprehensive of the circumstances, but yourself, Shriek, I hear we can consider ourselves neighbors.
Oh, can we?
Of Arlington.
Funny. I don't think I've heard of you.
Winters.
Winters.
Aaron Winters.
Well, I'm glad that you at least have the politeness to be able to end up offering a name. So what made you decide to end up leaving the life of luxury to come and end up picking my sweet ass up?
Well, most of it, despite everything, a suggestion.
By who? Come on now, don't be coy.
A maker. Vincent Roderick.
Might know something. Might not. Tend to try and keep an eye on who's who around here. But then again, everybody ends up coming to me for something. So, really weird to end up seeing. Most people don't come for a pickup unless they're looking for a favor. So what's the favor you're looking for here, Winters? Or are you just here for a little bit of a chat and a quick hand me? Not a
Don't be out here. Don't be out here making assumptions, hot pants. It ain't like that.
No.
Trying to make friends, though. New to the neighborhood and just trying to get to know folks. And, I figured maybe I might have a chance to put my foot in the door and be of use to Dead Man's Hand.
Be used to it. The coterie just got disbanded, didn't you hear? The whole reason Dead Man's Hand came into being was because we were supposed to end up looking over a domain. Idea of, have a whole bunch of youngins trying to end up writing around it. Hopefully they can make up for it, what one Ancilla should be able to end up doing. Until the appropriate member was chosen. In this case, congratulations, Dr. Fuck You, Ian. So, with the coterie here now being removed from its current office, or its former office, I should say, and with no assignments thereafter, we're done.
Aaron just kind of bats a raised eyebrow at you. That's not it, is it?
I don't think you'd want to know. Even if I were inclined to tell you, which I'm not, since, while I appreciate the ride, I'm not about to end up going crying on your lap. Could do other things, but I'm not that bored yet.
Well, I'm just not
Go ahead.
I'm just not convinced it's all done and said yet. Like you just noted. I'm not exactly a smart man or anything like that, but
You're smart enough to end up going after somebody who knows things. You're smart enough to end up seeing an opportunity, and you're smart enough to end up putting your foot in the door. Seems to me you do one thing and you say another quite a bit. That a norm for you?
just a man of action more than I am words.
Like action too.
How about this? I'm not convinced you're exactly done. You're not done with any of what you started out in Arlington.
Why did I start out in Arlington, Mr. Winters? Please do enlighten me on the wonderful little reputation that I have somehow managed to make.
Well, I can't exactly state what specifically you've started, but I do know. If you are the person to go to for information, then it is to be assumed that you're also the person who starts long games.
Assumptions are the mother of all fuck-ups, so gotta be right on track there.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, if I did have a long-term play, that situation may have just got tanked. Things went a little faster than expected. Now, why they went faster is the part that I haven't figured out yet, but I'm keeping an ear out. Take a left here.
The blinker clicks and he continues along per the directions that Shriek is giving.
So what about you, Winters? I don't recall you coming around these parts too frequently. Haven't heard of you, so that leaves a few things questions. You're either new or you've been keeping such a low profile that nobody cares.
Column A, column B.
Getting it both ways. All right.
Okay. Full disclosure for you. Vince kicked me out. Told me I gotta be out on my own. Would you know it? Prince had me put in Arlington.
Oh, Arlington will be fun for you.
Yeah, I hear it's where they put the undesirables, and I can't imagine why. I do know why, but I can't imagine why. And I know why I'm there.
So how'd you rub somebody's rhubarb the wrong way? Don't feel bad. It's usually a lack of practice.
He's got this horrible grin on his face. His fangs kind of peeking through. Well, you see, hunting bloodsuckers ain't exactly new to me.
Oh. So, should I expect like a steak suddenly popping out of the back of my chair straight into my heart? Expect a hacksaw in the bag just behind the seat.
I mean, there is a bag in the back seat if you want to look through it. It's got, stuff in it, but that's beside the point. Shriek, there very much is just like a golf bag in the back of the seat. It's black, and you can kind of tell there is like a large array of objects just carried inside. You also see there are quite a few towels. All of the seats are covered with just like heavy soak duty towels. And there's a shovel, of course, in the back seat as well. The important objects.
Now, doesn't that just make things interesting? So, is this one of those situations where I'm gonna be suddenly gone before sunlight? You'd be doing me a favor, really.
It ain't nothing like that. If you want the story, it's a simple one. I was more or less an embrace for, let's say, getting an in and an understanding of a smaller organization, a family, so to speak. Monster hunters and all that. And, well, Vince cut that right the hell out. Any options or movement forward? We butted heads for a bit over there. But I'm gonna be honest, I got over any of my what is it? Apprehensions, About the Camarilla? Camarilla?
Old fogies like it when you say Camarilla. Makes it sound more romantic, doesn't it? Might be French or Italian. I don't know.
I always thought it was Spanish.
He just kind of looks at you sideways for a second.
I just told you I ain't smart, okay? I don't know the history bits of it. It ain't none of my business. What is my business is that there is a reason I'm out here. There's a reason I'm being directed towards you folk.
Yeah, somebody expects us to be you to be put in a position when the pin's pulled, you end up doing what you used to do. See if you still got it. Good job.
I seen the purge. I've been there. I was there for the whole shebang. That's what changed my mind.
Here for the church.
The purge.
Purge.
Okay. Sir.
The
I saw
purge.
the whole... Yeah, the purge. I saw the whole thing.
Okay.
So...
Well. Mr. Go ahead.
My thoughts, my point being, I ain't want none of that. Not interested in seeing that again.
Well,
Because I didn't.
We have that in common.
So if you're saying this Primogen killer,
Oh, I'm just musing on how Keller tends to run things. He likes to do things really hands off. Just what I've observed. And really he just kind of expects everybody else to pick up after him. Problem is when you got a bunch of vampires who are currently all looking for something to eat, half starved, ill-tempered, constantly being snubbed at all given points, and then put them with a rep that is going to end up telling them at all times of the day that they got to clean up after him, but he doesn't seem to give two shits about the mess that he makes. He's going to spend most of his time in the hospital and just let Arlington do what Arlington does. Let's just say that is just a breeding ground of resentment. Honestly, it's... the pin on the hand grenade's already been pulled. They're just waiting for when it goes off, and whoever's left holding the bill at this point. We'll end up seeing on how it ends up going from there. Now, turn right here. And then just pull over.
car slows down.
Alright. You're gonna run into two ladies coming in. Just say, hi, how you doing? Don't let them in on anything. Just be the silent driver if you can. Honestly, the less they know, the better. And I'd rather not end up having them freaking out if this situation, because that's just going to make it 10 times worse. I put everything I could to give them a chance. That's... last thing I need is them mucking it up in a panic. Still roll the dice. Then again, that ain't different from the rest of us.
I'm just here as the ride.
See how you handle yourself, Mr. Winters. As soon as they get in, just bring them to Elysium. I'll meet you there. with that, he goes out, makes his way down the back lane. Well, he says he's not going to end up showcasing to Winters exactly where the fuck he's going. Grab the twins and tell them where their ride is. And then use obfuscate to end up sneaking into the back of the truck, sitting laying down in the box, listening in. Past the rattling as his skull is currently vibrating. His eyeballs are threatening to roll out.
Well, that particular part does go as according to plan. Go ahead and roll me your obfuscate.
Okay. Ooh, success. Yes.
Delightful. Okay.
3. Not great, but it's there.
Are you happy with 3?
I'm happy enough with 3. I'm mostly just doing it so that I'm not attracting attention because I don't know Texas law, but around here it's actually illegal to drive on public roads while sitting in the back of a pickup truck. So just laying in the box so that it's 3 passengers in the front. Ford can handle that.
Yep. It is
Julie
absolutely
a
illegal.
stick shift at this point.
Yep, it's absolutely illegal to ride in the bed of a truck, especially on the highway. And so, given that there is a lot of highway driving between Arlington and the Elysium, well, it does get very bumpy, Shriek, and you don't have a seatbelt to fasten you. But you are free to listen in to the different things that are going on in the cab if you can actually overhear or hear over the sound of the truck. So I'm going to actually ask for a wits and awareness. Or actually resolve and awareness, your choice.
We'll do wits awareness.
Ooh. That there's a messy crit. You definitely can overhear them. Are you wanting to make any changes to that?
Decisions.
Do you want to keep the messy crit, or do you want to just let it ride like it is? And then
I'm gonna reroll 2 of those dice, including the 10.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only 3.
Only 3. Okay. Yeah, so they're probably talking a little louder than normally goes on in a vehicle, given how loud and rickety this vehicle is. But you will be able to catch the important bits because they are speaking at a relatively good, higher volume. So, but Aaron, that does mean you do have the freedom to speak to the 2 twins, it looks like. But they're oddly different. One has black hair, one has blonde hair, but they otherwise look extremely identical. And so they introduce themselves as Julie as the blonde and Jordan as the brunette. And Jordan, who is sitting next to you, Julie's on the other side, says to you, Where are we going again?
You're all new, so you're not too familiar with some of the customs, are you? You ever been to an Elysium before?
No, what's that?
So, fuck. You ever seen that scene in Labyrinth with David Bowie? Where, like, they had that little ball. Girl, main character girl, she's, like, dancing around.
They both kind of shake their heads.
You ain't seen Labyrinth?
Uncultured swine.
He's still like, oh my god, Gen Zs. You really ain't seen it? Damn. Here's one you might know. Game of Thrones. Whenever they have like a little courtroom events, and you got the prince and.
Jordan shakes her head, but Julie's like, no, I remember that.
Yeah. So, Prince. You don't want to talk back to him like you do in Game of Thrones. That's all that's how he leads up into this. Because the Prince is, he's the big man. He's the big head honcho. His name is Janessa Warsi. Prince,
Yeah.
you'll call him Prince Warsi. Don't piss him off and don't look at him the wrong way, if you catch my drift.
I think I get it, Julie says. And Jordan says, no, I've heard of Prince Warsi and how strict he is.
Yeah. So we're going to a little courtroom ball event.
Wait, are we under trust?
No, you're fine. Both of you look lovely. Don't worry about it. And,
They both kind of look at each other confused.
We're gonna go meet the new primogen of this here whole shindig of Arlington.
Wait, hold on. But Shriek is primogen.
There's a new one.
Primogen? What happened to Shriek?
It's complicated, girls.
Hold on.
Something politics.
That doesn't make any sense.
Shriek was temporary. He was his placement, Dead Man's Hand, as a group, was a temporary placement to fill a vacuum. And well, they chose someone that they actually wanted.
Well, where is he? Why isn't he here with us? Who are you?
I'm so sorry. Name's Winters. Aaron. I'm just the driver. Trick asked me to take you on. He said he'd meet us there. It's all gonna be fine once we get there.
Winters. You hear Jordan kind of say under her breath. She just seems to kind of clam up a little bit.
He clicks the rearview mirror into place and it focuses in on her. She can probably see his reflection back in it, but his reflection is strange and distorted. That's right. Winters. You know it?
I don't know.
No worries either way. He clicks it back, and immediately the mirror is adjusted so that in one way it'll click towards the back seat, and in the other way it clicks is to point people's brights back into their windows. They have them on. It does that. It's another vehicle is riding behind them with their brights. Look, I don't have much I can necessarily say to you about all this. Just change of power happened, change of hands. I'm just doing jobs.
And that means that we're changing hands.
Looks like it.
Okay. And both of them just go silent for the rest of the ride.
Aaron really doesn't have a lot to say. He looks at the two, recognizes they're really new. They don't know a lot about what's going on, what to expect. They're definitely not familiar with the situation. Aaron's wondering if it's better that they were told everything, or if it's like, is it better to tell them everything, or is it better to keep them in the dark about it?
That is a dilemma.
But there is a sense of integrity that does win out on him. All right. And when he drives up to Elysium, not directly at Elysium, just like probably a block or two away, he'll park the truck. And he's gonna pull out a notepad. Like you see, they'll see he also pulls out a pen, scribbles on it really fast, throws it onto the ground on the just kind of like in the truck, and then reaches into the like his truck is messy in the front seat. Does not really clean it or take care of it so much. He grabs a small pencil that's like yay big after years and years of use, and somehow it's still alive. He writes down an address. Rips it out of the notebook. All right. So we're gonna walk over. Yeah. There's one thing I wanna add to you all. If you find yourselves needing somewhere safe to stay for a bit, out of trouble, out of sight, out of mind, just go here. And we'll hand the paper over to whichever one takes it.
Jordan takes it.
Nothing's gonna make sense for a second here, but just play it cool. Keep your heads together. Keep them on straight. You do seem like you were best side by side. Would I be correct in assuming that?
We're always together.
Stick together as much as you can.
They both just nod.
Good girls. All right. Gotta go make an appearance and meet up with Shriek here.
And
Gets out of the car.
that's where we're going to take a quick break. And we will be back with more of Elysium when we return. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone, to Blood and Iron, Dead Man's Hands. The coterie has more or less been pulled off official duty when it comes to their responsibilities in Arlington. Aside from assisting Dr. Keller in whatever it is that he might need as far as being the new primogen, catching him up to speed, informing him of different things that need to be addressed, assisting him in addressing those things. Various new responsibilities will be taking place in the nights going forward. One of which was to bring the twins, Jordan and Julie, the Toreador pair, amongst them Julie being an organivore, back to Ian Keller for proper schooling, needing the proper visage of a sire with experience to provide. At least, that's how it's meant to sound. Really, Alex, Shriek, Anna, Aaron, they all don't know what's going to be in store for the pair going forward. Are they just going to go back to just being forgotten about, or actually properly taken care of, or something else? It's only one real way to know, and that's to bring them forward in Elysium and maybe have a conversation with the new primogen. But that does mean that Dorian and Alex had been doing a little bit of mingling, saying their hellos to those who are of importance and avoiding those who might not be, and figuring out what to do next in the grand scheme of things. During this time, did Alex and Dorian ever cross paths?
I'm okay with this.
There is a high likelihood that Alex has said hello to one of the brand new faces of the board.
Yes. One of them being Dorian, and you're more than capable of having a conversation, if you so like, before the others arrive.
Sure.
Now,
If you
how
would
much
like.
would I know of these Dead Man's Hand?
You would know that they're a recently formed coterie, and that they're colloquially called the fledgling primogen. But as far as details, you maybe know their names, but that's probably about it. Unless you want to roll me a wits and politics. No, intelligence and politics.
Yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Let's see if I can glean anything.
You do know all of their names. You do know that Kane, who has kind of been lurking about, has also been has also been part of their coterie. But when the prince called them up, he didn't join them, so maybe there's something going on there. But aside from that, they've been, fairly busy in the Arlington domain. The Arlington domain being the site of those who would potentially cause trouble, such as the Bruja, the Gangrel, the Thin Blood, the Caitiff, the traitor-ish question mark sort of individuals, not confirmed but not without scrutiny sort of individuals, one of which you would know as a member of your clan, the Ventru, is among the Arlington domain. She's kind of a bit of a disgrace in amongst your elders. She's often spoken very ill about, and especially her sire. But that's primarily what you know. And then, of course, with Shriek and Alex and Anna being the primary figures in the Dead Man's Hand coterie as sort of a trio that's been taking care of whatever problems have been creeping up.
Okay.
It's very vague in details as to what problems those are, though.
Yes.
At least as far as you're aware. So, that being said, Alexandra, member of the Dead Man's Hand domain, and you do cross paths. Dorian, you're sporting more of a suit than
Yeah, it's a like deep, rich purple with black pinstripes.
Ooh.
White
Alex
pocket
is-
saver.
Alex is, of course, wearing her lovely long black dress with the high slit up the sides and the black corset pin from her clan displayed proudly.
Yeah, as someone described it last time, I am a sexy Gomez Adams.
Now the question is it well-fitting, or is it sort of ill-fitting like a zoot suit would be?
It is very much tailored.
Okay. Very much speaks very highly of his figure. He wears it very well, Alex.
I can see that. Quite an impressive attire to wear to Elysium. Very eye-catching.
I see you are no are not here. It's not unfamiliar to you as well to dress up for these.
Well, it's not as if I would want to dress down for our dear prince, is it?
No, one should put their best foot forward.
Indeed. Alexandra. Pleasure. She offers her hand.
And I'll gladly take it and give a slight bow, and Dorian Resnar.
Resnar. That is an interesting last name.
Yes. A bit of an inside joke between me and my sire.
I see. So you are reasonably new then?
Well, you could say I'm fresh off the leash.
Fresh off the leash could mean many different things in terms of age.
Yes.
Also in terms of knowledge. Are you familiar with the city?
How familiar with the city am I? I'm assuming I've been born and raised here, right?
Yeah, been in maybe one of the surrounding suburbs. But yeah, you're very if you're born in this area, you'd be very familiar with Dallas and with some things going on in Fort Worth. Given how close the two cities are.
Yes. I've been here for as long as I can remember.
Ooh, a local.
Yes.
Interesting. Well, perhaps I shall have to hit you up for a bit of a tour at some point.
Oh, gladly. I think that you would actually fit in quite well with some of the establishments I frequent.
Oh, really?
Yes. I think,
And how is that?
between the dress and the hair, I would assume that you would love some of the music that they play.
Interesting. I'm assuming you're speaking of some of the industrial and goth clubs around.
Yes.
Huh. Well, if you ever find yourself interested in the more occult side of things. She would reach into her shirt and pull out a small business card for her shop.
Now that sounds like an interesting time. And he'll tuck it into his shirt pocket behind the pocket saver.
And it smells like her perfume. Or maybe her shop. Not sure which it is.
Either way, it's lovely. But I was thinking about moving one of my clubs into the area. And I thought we might be able to help each other.
Which area? Arlington.
Into the Arlington area.
Interesting. I would certainly be interested in hearing about it, but before making any moves, I would suggest speaking with our new manager.
Yes, I had business with him. I'm simply waiting my turn.
What a good little boy.
One must know their place.
Indeed, one must.
It would be about then that Shriek and Aaron do walk in with the twins. You are free
Speaking of places.
You are free to speak to each other before really entering the club, really entering the Elysium, but you are present here now. Shriek and Aaron.
Okay, well, I was expecting Alexandra to end up interfering, but
no, I was saying that you two have a moment before you actually walk in, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I probably enter in with the girls, and I'm like looking back and forth for Shriek. Just told we'd meet each other here.
And I would probably be dropping off Skate at about the time where the visual confusion has become at its height, if only for my personal amusement. Placing my hands on both of the girls' shoulders.
Shriek.
I told you I'd be here. Why is it nobody believes me?
Well, I'm sorry.
Ah! I found him. There he is.
Quick on the draw, Mr. Winters. Quick on the draw.
I got quicker ones.
I know, but I'm pretty good.
Oh no.
Oh, it begins.
Now, ladies, I don't know how this is going to go, so I'm just going to be honest with you on that. But I told you I'd give everything I could. Now's the moment to end up seeing on how well we've been paying attention to our lessons.
Why are we here?
Because at this point, the new Primogen, who you've already encountered, wished to end up having you brought here. And so I have to acquiesce unto the court.
Are we?
You're currently within the purview of Elysium. Rules of Elysium. No powers. Try not to end up losing it. No one shall end up coming to harm while within the walls, as they are within the protection of the prince. Where he ends up making his declarations, and the good news for you is that he's already ended up doing his declarations for the evening, which means
Oh, okay.
you shouldn't have too much to worry about from this point on. Hopefully.
Okay. No harm.
Now, to be clear, have you both fed at this point? Are you keeping it up? Good. I'd rather not end up having to end up explaining on why it is that I'm cleaning Mr. Winters off of the floor at this point. Look, he looks tasty too. I don't blame you, but
Wait, that's a thing?
we'll get into
No.
that another time.
I'm confused now, Julie says.
Don't you worry your pretty little head about it. Don't want to lose your head here, of all places.
Okay. Just be calm.
I said I'd bring them to Elysium. I don't think I ended up saying that I'd bring them directly on over, and I think it's good that we all end up getting together. Have you spoken with Alex or Anna recently? See
No.
Anna here, but there's our little occultist, warlock, just lurking around.
Alex.
Mr. Winters, thank you very much for chaperoning these two, and I would like you to continue to accompany me throughout this Elysium, if only to get a sense of yourself. I'm curious. Wouldn't be the first time.
I'd be happy to escort. Or just be company for the night.
Well, you did end up saying that was the cost, so don't want to throw you away too early.
Ah, I'm honored.
Give it time. And I start to end up walking towards Alexandra.
All right. Alex and Dorian, you would see that a group of 4 individuals, the twins, Aaron and Shriek, are starting to approach you all.
Okay. Would I would be kind of keeping an eye on the Primogen waiting to be summoned.
Okay.
I didn't know if you wanted to do that before or after we talk.
It's going to be after, just so you're aware.
Okay.
Well, hello again, Mr. Resner. What a coincidence.
Ah, yes. Mr. Winters. It is a pleasure as always. And you
Winters?
must be Shriek.
Oh, my reputation precedes me, and here we end up having 2 bearded individuals come in, though I don't know your name. That's kind of curious.
He would extend a hand. I am Dorian Resner.
Dorian Resner. He takes his hand. And you'll have to pardon me. You are newer to the city, or?
I'm newer to this circle of the city. I've been born and raised here.
Resner. Why haven't I heard of you either? Getting a whole bunch out of the woodwork. I'm afraid I am caught entirely flat-footed.
Sure, that doesn't happen very often.
Certainly
Should have
not.
brought your Heelys.
Healy.
Sorry. I won't interrupt no more.
That's a really bad habit.
Yeah,
You said your
yeah,
name was Winters.
Sure is. Aaron.
Looking him over, he doesn't happen to hold any resemblance to a certain dead human, does he?
Oh, he absolutely does.
You, are you a local, Mr. Winters?
Yes, I am. Born and raised.
Interesting.
Self, I didn't quite catch your name, ma'am.
Alexandra. Pleasure. She offers a hand.
Nice to meet you. Shakes
Alexandra
it.
here is a warlock of growing repute.
I can only hope so. We seem to both be of growing repute.
Please, I made my reputation a long time ago. Much as I might try and live it down, but hey, whatever it takes.
Oh, I don't know. There's always room for expansion.
Don't think most are that big.
Well, you know what they say, it's never too big.
Well, I haven't found that out yet. So. Mr. Resner.
Yes, sir.
So prim and polite. This is gonna be weird. Feel like I'm in some form of contract negotiations. Ugh.
Everything's a negotiation.
Okay, then. I'll hold you to that. Now, that being said, did I miss anything while I was gone picking up the girls?
Oh, I simply thank him for the opportunities he has provided. And asked him about opportunities for growth.
Opportunity.
Quite the positive response. But I will discuss that more later.
Ladies, shall we end up getting this band-aid over with?
Yes, sure.
Alexandra, I'm going to end up fulfilling my final duty as decreed by Prince Warzi.
Would you like some company?
By all means, if it means that much to you.
Can't have you doing this all on your own.
Well, I guess there's a first time for everything.
You're sweet.
Don't let that get out. And with that, I start making my way towards one Dr. Ian Kellinger, or Keller, Primogen of the Arlington domain.
Aaron accompanies.
All right.
As does Alex.
Okay.
I guess since I'm waiting to be called, I might trail behind it just a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So all y'all are walking towards Dr. Ian Keller, just as he's finishing up a conversation. It looks like with someone else from the looks of it. They're walking away just as you're walking towards, and He kind of looks at you with that sort of grin that kind of sends shivers up your spine a little bit. Ah, good evening.
And to you, Primogen, Dr. Ian Keller. God, that turns into a mouthful. I hope that the titles won't become too overbearing.
I think Primogen Keller will be fine.
As requested, I ended up bringing Julie and Jordan here.
Ah, thank you very
Now,
much.
Julie, Jordan, Primogen Keller has taken over the Arlington domain, which has managed to clear up a few bits of confusion, he says, kind of through his teeth. But in his removal, he ended up requesting that you two be brought over here. Now, my assumption is that Keller. He thinks about it for a moment, and he reflects back to how fast Keller needed to get rid of them. How they already served their purpose. Now, my understanding is the Primogen Keller is more than excited to end up being able to bring you two back under his wing with no further tidbits. He will be responsible for your feeding, your education, to end up bringing you about the city. He's basically going to end up being a permanent escort for you from here on in.
Think of me
Coffee.
like a... Yes.
Oh, I would like to insight Shriek to see if he's really happy about this. I want to get a read on this situation.
Okay. To get a read on the situation, that's a wits and insight. And then Shriek, that's going to be a...
I believe this is a manipulation subterfuge.
Yes. I was going to say composure, because it's more that you're...
Well, if you want composure, then we'll do composure.
It's more like you're gritting your teeth than anything else.
One success.
Oh, no. Oh, it's blatantly obvious that Shriek is not happy about anything going on in this very moment at all.
Okay.
He is almost literally speaking through gritted teeth.
I would like to take a step forward and see if I'm acknowledged.
Dr. Keller does look over at you because you move towards him.
Good evening, Imogen Keller.
And you are?
I am Dorian Resner, a newer member of the court.
Ah, yes, one of the fledglings graduated from their mother's teat.
Yes. Off the leash, so they say.
Yes, so they say.
I couldn't help but overhearing the situation and was thinking of something that I wanted to propose. I know that you will have much to do in this new appointment of your area doubling. Raising fledglings is in itself can be a full-time job. I wonder if I could help oversee that with the help of this coterie. I was looking to possibly expand into the Arlington area, looking for my own place in this area.
Looking for a place.
Yes.
Rick kind of looks at him with a little bit of confusion.
Well, one of the best areas to do is go where it is undesirable and build it up. That is the easiest way to make a mark.
So you already think that Arlington is an undesirable place, and you have only just come out of the womb, as it were.
That is what everybody has told me, but I don't see it that way. I just see opportunity.
Right. Like every venture does, I'm sure. You're...
Pardon. Mr. Resner, my sincerest apologies. And I appreciate the tact. But might I end up requesting you to tell me tell me of what line of venture do you fall? Freak is smiling because he knows that this is going to be eating up the next half hour.
He would carefully recite sire to sire back as many generations as he was taught.
Now, is there any particular standout there in the lineage?
I would actually like to keep an eye out for that as well.
Actually...
Aaron is hanging his head in boredom.
Well, did we...
I just...
Don't worry, Mr. Winters, yours is coming.
Did we decide what his lineage was like? I don't think we actually wrote it down.
It's okay.
No.
I'm just... Shriek is... So to explain what I'm doing, outside of annoying Dr. Ian Keller, because let's be honest, nobody here wants the whole half-hour dissertation of a adventurer's lineage, as happy as most Ventru are willing to give it. But there is a usefulness to knowing his line, because if there's certain, even the first few generations might clue me into what this might tie into as far as Ian Keller's position.
Which politics?
I just imagine this
assist?
You can assist, or you can roll for yourself.
I would like to assist.
Okay.
I imagine this is very much...
I'm gonna do what I never should do, which is
spend willpower. Ooh.
Please tell me that's 2 10s.
No, but it is 4. So the first name that he mentions is Liliana Resner. Now that's not a name that's super familiar to you, but you look upon who he maybe points out, who is Liliana Resner, and she strikes you as someone out of time. She looks a little awkward, even being a sire here.
This is a case of, this is somebody who at least gives the off a air of somebody significantly older than Keller.
Older, maybe, but definitely seems behind the times. They're catching up too. So, while they may be older, they may be newer to the court as of right now. The next name that's presented is Liliana Sire, and Liliana Sire is not really anyone that you've really heard of, because they're the events that took place for them are way before your time. And
there's only so much I do know when it comes down to adventure. Not on the inside track.
No, yeah. But it does stand out that Liliana Sire has been, there's a bit of a family feud almost going on with what you know to be Jade Kaufman's line. Her sire and her sire's sire may have had some kind of family feud beyond back in the day. Now, whether that is still going on, who's to know? Jade just in general is unliked by most
I think that gives me an angle to play on, but I'm going to let this conversation play a little bit more before I end up doing that.
As far
Thank you very much, Mr. Resner. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to end up hearing the entire dossier.
Well, as one is expected of and true, it's something that we pride ourselves on and are taught.
yes, yes. And are taught to recite the entire thing verbatim, as I've been privy to many times.
Yes.
Now, if you all would excuse me, you said that, Mr. Resnor, that you had thoughts to do what exactly in the Arlington domain? I forgot, it's been so long ago.
I was going to expand some of my businesses, try to give a shot in the arm to the area, bring in some new people.
Now, what kind of businesses are we talking about here?
I mostly deal in nightclubs and clothing.
Nightclubs and clothing? Aren't
Yes.
I
those...
imagine everybody looks him up and down at that moment.
It makes sense.
It checks out.
Aren't those business more, I don't know, sustainable downtown?
Which is where
I
I
believe
already
it
have
is.
some areas, but as I said, I think an expansion is in order.
If I may, Primogen Keller, I do believe this is quite the opportunity for growth within the Arlington domain. My business itself has been quite popular in the area, and I believe that Mr. Resner's proposition may find purchase.
In the suburbs?
You would be surprised. Lots and lots of young people are always looking for places to hang out when they're bored.
That is a thing that I wish to capitalize on. Lord knows what I got up to when I was their age.
And what's in it for me, Mr. Resner?
I
Think
heard
of it
that there
like
was...
this, Primogen Keller. The Arlington domain currently has issues concerning keeping our populace fed. I'm
Yes, as
sure
I'm
you
well
are aware of
aware.
it. And businesses such as nightclubs generally tend to be rather hopping places for food, if you know what I mean.
I suppose if you're into that sort of thing.
Well, there's also the other thing, but that probably doesn't interest you.
Other thing?
Oh, you never considered?
You baffle
Shop.
me. Your existence baffles me.
He leans in. Tell me something I don't know.
Now, why would I ever do that?
Because that might be very important to your decision.
If Shriek is asking you to tell him something he doesn't know, Primogen Keller, it means he has something to offer in return.
And how long is that offer good for?
60 seconds. Because at that point, you're going to end up making a decision, in which case, well, I'll just let the dominoes fall where they may. It works out well for me either way.
Well, then.
But for the entirety of Arlington, not so much.
In exchange.
Tell me something I don't know.
No, what does that mean that you were giving me in exchange? Or that I'm giving you in exchange?
I
You
think.
get a crucial
Sorry.
piece of. No, it's okay. You know what? I'm going to let you take this one. By all means.
I think Mr. Shriek is suggesting a tit for tat.
That's what I'm suggesting as well. I haven't seen either one of you tell me what I'm getting out of this.
Information for information. Primitive. You are
So-
getting information for
so-
information.
So let me see if I understand this correctly. Mr. What was it? Resner?
Yes, sir.
You want to establish a club in the Arlington domain. In exchange for my permission to do so, Shriek is going to give me a piece of information.
No, I think that's his own deal. I wanted to
Let's not
bring
confuse
this.
deals then.
I simply wish for this and to help rid you of a burden that in helping rear the twins.
A burden.
Etiquette is very well. It can be a very troublesome job, and you have much to do in such a large domain.
And there's
It
always
would be
their
simplifying your life.
And there's always their dietary requirements that need to be carefully considered.
Oh, I'm well aware.
Yes, you are. He's not. All I'm asking is for you to tell me one simple piece of information that I am currently unaware of. And I will give you something that you may need to reconsider your position.
You want to know something that I know that you don't. Well, I'll have to think. Given how nosy some Nosferatu can tend to be, that's a tricky one.
But this is also a tricky endeavor. And I would love to end up being assisting a Primogen as he currently here finds his stride. Arlington
As
can
you've
be
been
tricky.
ordered to do.
As we do quite willingly, Primitive. We are, of course, here under the orders of our wonderful Prince Wazi. And we shall continue to do our best for the domain and for the court.
Good girl.
I try.
So, you want to know something about anything that you don't already know. Brocado is their sire.
I am so glad to hear that. He leans in. The reason you want that particular Ventru in is because right now you have another Ventru who is a bit of a problem. But they have a personal thing that has been going on a long time. And he gives you a checks and balance against a potential future problem that will end up creeping up if you're not careful.
I thought that's what you were for.
No, my job is to keep you ahead of the curve. Which I'm doing.
I heard you had beef with her too.
I do. But, given the nature of what is about to change, you want me around to end up making sure that they end up knowing what's on the ground. You need me in order to end up keeping you in the loop of certain things that are necessary to the Arlington domain. You also want to end up keeping me in good graces because, at the very least, you know I'm very, very temperamental when somebody's, pardon, shitting in my backyard. And it's still my backyard. Your name's on the deed. I recognize. but it's still my home. And I take exception to when people screw with it, which is something that I think you might appreciate.
Well, you want to build a club in the Arlington domain? I want Anna.
You want Anna?
She's my guarantee. And you get to keep the girls. Do we have a deal?
Shriek's trying to end up remaining calm. Internally, he's screaming. Thinking over it.
Forgive me for asking, but is Anna still not considered under her sire?
Last I heard, she was part of a coterie that was primogen prior to me. For all intents and purposes, that means just she's free. Free to go about pursuing other campaigns. And I want her assistance.
You want her assistance?
Yes. That is until the clubs are profitable. In which case I will want my cut.
Of course. Allow me to speak with her at the very least. After all, you stated she's a free kindred. And you want this to go smoothly and be as few headaches as possible, right?
Just as much as you do.
He looks over. And Anna is not in the building at this point, correct?
Nope, she's gone.
I'll get in contact with her. And should she willingly walk into your hospital, I'm sure she'll have your staff contact. And you'll know the answer. Patience is a virtue, I'm sure.
I have all the time in the world.
Good.
Regardless of whether this deal goes through, I personally would like to offer my services. Should you ever need somebody to keep an eye on these two lovely ladies.
I've already told you that's the deal. If Anna
Wonderful.
does not walk into my hospital within the next 2 days, then the girls are mine, and no club. That's the deal.
I think you've misunderstood what I'm getting from it, Helen. Separate to this deal, I would like to offer my services should you find yourself too busy to constantly keep an eye on these two fledglings. That is all. Babysitting, if you will.
If I need your help.
You can see Shriek at this point. He's getting aggravated with this conversation. It's plain as day on his face. He just wants to tear Ian's face clean off at this point. Maybe wear his silly glasses and make him watch himself through them.
If indeed.
I think we have an understanding then.
I think we do.
I will be seeing to organizing some things in the domain for the rest of the evening. If you should need me, you know where to find me.
No
The
doubt.
same thing goes for you, Primogen Keller. I'm sure we can give you some many useful insights. if you are willing to work.
Indeed. And he turns on heel and starts to walk out the door.
Alex is going to offer Jordan and Julie each one of her cards.
They both just kind of nod. They both seem a little defeated by this whole conversation.
She kind of leans in and she talks slowly to them. She says, I know it seems like you are backed into a wall. Play it smart. You both have that capability. And you've both spent enough time around Shriek to know how to work.
They both kind of nod.
Jordan, Julie, I'm going to have to end up excusing myself for the evening. Unfortunately, I gotta end up taking care of some very distasteful business. And at this current time, the only thing I can tell you is I will do everything I can to make sure that you two have a fighting chance here. But under his guidance,
I get it. You're in a difficult position, and this isn't exactly the place to get upset about it.
Exactly. I am so proud of you two for starting to learn.
Go do what you have
Cute
to.
as dimples you really are. Alexandra, would you be able to end up looking over these big lugs and make sure that the girls get home at some point? I have a private matter.
Of course. Feel free
It
to
is
contact
getting-
me if you need anything.
It is getting late, Shriek. Could I offer you a ride?
No. This is personal matter. One
Okay,
I'd
then.
rather not have people interfering in. I will gladly end up talking to you about those clubs later and certain hiccups that are going to end up happening along the way outside of the Brummagens' want and need. Since it looks like we're going to be neighbors anyway. Mr. Winters, you have my condolences.
All right. You'll have to expand on that in a bit. Probably not tonight.
Probably not.
Yes. Please.
Rick starts to walk away. He's got a theater to get to.
Yes, he does. And it will be pretty late by the time you get there, so getting there in a timely manner is of the utmost importance. And so you...
Can I amend one thing?
Sure.
Can I have at least hand him some money for a cab or something?
Can if you want. Is he going to take a cab?
Call an Uber for him or even?
Probably a cab just to...
Make it easy.
Cab's not masquerade breaching.
No, cabbie's not going to care either, one way or another.
Yeah.
He's getting paid.
Cab or Uber or something, yeah.
Yeah.
I would help arrange that.
Yeah. So they arrange for a car to come get you, Shriek. And so you...
And you will have my thanks. I am there with an awkward-looking box and a bunch of holes in it.
Yes, you still have your sugar glider. Yes, he does. All right. Well, that means to a theater where you will find the person that you are intending to see. Anna. Shriek has crawled through the tunnels and arrived.
Shriek.
Okay, do you need it?
Shriek has a defeated look on his face. He finds himself a place to sit down on the edge of the stage as he looks out to a non-existent crowd and looks at Anna. I wish I didn't, to be honest with you. I'm stuck in a rock and a hard place and an opportunity, and it's not good, Anna. It's not good at all. You can see he's holding his own hands so tightly, his fingernails are piercing skin like he's barely containing himself. Trying to remain that little bit of pep in the talk when in reality it is a torrent of rage.
I take it some more things happened at Elysium tonight.
I gotta play. But I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. And it means that I'm actually going to ask you for something. You can see his fangs are out as he's fighting with himself. Like the only thing he wants to do is destroy everything. If he could, he'd bring this entire theater down on his own goddamn head if he could.
What is it that I can do?
That piece of shit. Kettler. That fat, lard-ass, four-eyed piece of shit. He wants to make a deal. It's not a deal, it's a insurance. Found out. God, I found out. He lowers his head. In order to end up keeping the peace, to make sure that things can go forward, and to give him a reason to not end up causing all kinds of hell the second that he ends up moving in. For us to even have a chance at this. He asked that I'd bring you to him. And I don't know what that son of a bitch is gonna do.
Bring me to him.
Told him that I would only do so if you walked in on your own power. Be easy to take you against, but I'm not gonna do that. Because you're the only one who can see. Who knew the Malkavian's the one who can see. The coterie can continue working. We still have our connections in Arlington. But all of that feels so goddamn hollow right now. Can't even think straight. Keller wants you as an insurance policy. He wants you to be by his side so we don't try something stupid. And in exchange, he's going to allow certain things to continue, and a bit of an expansion there on a chance to feed the domain, a chance to put some real bank behind what we're doing, a chance to for Julie and Jordan to actually have a fighting near point, rather than do to them what I'm afraid he's going to end up doing, or more importantly, what I'm afraid of what he's going to do to you. I don't know what to do.
I think I have an idea.
He lowers his head, but his grip hasn't changed. Small.
Hannah slowly puts her hand out, just places it on Shrake's hands, gripping Ned tightly. There's a gentle attempt to untangle them, or at least slip her fingers in between the enclasped fists.
He lets it happen. Despite the rage, he doesn't want to hurt her. Despite the snark and snide remarks, softness, Anna has always been something perhaps Shriek appreciated. But also knowing that Anna is just as dangerous a monster as he is. He's seen that. Maybe that's the thing he should be banking on right now.
I have to tell you some things.
He raises his eyes to you.
Dr. Vale and I are supposed to leave the city. Our business is concluded. And she's finished her duty as Herald of Portland. So I had taken into consideration that I would be helpful to the coterie. I knew nothing would necessarily be over just because I was gone. More than anything, right now, I don't think I could forgive myself if I just ran away from this.
I want you to run. I want so badly for you to run right now. Jesus, what's this leaking out of my face right now?
The last time you needed me there, I vanished. I don't want to do that to you again. I'll meet Dr. Keller. But he won't like what I bring him. And I need you to trust me. And I'm going to use premonition. First, rouse. I want to blood surge this. Because I want a good one.
Okay. I will allow it.
Dope.
So your blood surge for the blood rouse for the blood surge and rouse for the premonition because you're forcing it. Yep.
Perfect. And then that's going to be premonition is resolve and aspects.
Do it.
That's going to be a +2, my guy.
Yep, it is.
All right.
And I'd like to add 3 more dice to that with a willpower reroll.
Willpower, get it.
Oh, come on. All right, fine.
Okay.
3.
What are you seeking to know?
I want to give Shriek leverage. Because Anna has an intent. She'll go to Dr. Keller. But she's going to do it in the most chaotic way possible. I will tell you that plan shortly.
Okay.
But
Leverage. Leverage on whom? Keller?
what is something throughout the cobweb that looking at his history, his connection? What is his weakness? What is he most bound to? And what will tear him apart if we were to unravel it? Might be a bit much, might be all it's symbolic.
You peer into the web. The tangled threads each one connecting to a light. A light on the end of each one of them. You know them by name, or at least by feeling. Each one of them different. You've traversed this web many times. This web has spoken to you, given you its feelings, its heart, its mind. You sometimes hear those voices. What you know, or what you think you know, is Ian Keller's little light at the end of the cobweb. You've heard his thoughts, feelings. They've been vague so far. But nothing... There is something. Someone. Amongst all of the things he's brought into under his wings, there is one. One that stands above all others, the one that he does not want to let go of. He will not let go of. And he has her. Or at least he thought he did. And the vision fades.
Dr. Keller does have a weakness. Deep-rooted one. And to unravel it, to find it, would be like taking his golden ticket. He thought he had her, but he doesn't anymore. He wants, he desires, he needs them, but he can't. It's hard to figure out. Do I get the impression that this is like human or kindred?
It's hard to know. They're not linked to the web, so you don't really have a direct connection to them.
They're not linked. Oh, that tells me a lot, actually.
They're not part of the web.
This person that Keller is attached to. Am I hearing that right?
If you were to find them, you would destroy him.
Drake looks at his wounded hands, his vitae dripping from his fingers, and leans towards Anna and raises one up to her face. I'm going to be coming back for you. I'm clingy like that. You know it. I know it. But I want you to remember that. He looks to the Vitae along his fingers. Stems them outward to Anna. Because he's gonna make you forget. But he can't take this.
It's a promise. But only if it's one you take yourself.
She bites her thumb. Make sure to let it bleed.
Fair trade.
Smiles meekly a bit. And does so. Taking her thumb into his mouth. And doing so as a lover would. Something more soft and sensual rather than the makeshift roughness that Shriek is. Taking that small bit of the blood bond. Just that small promise. A reminder.
Nana will do the same. Holding Shriek's hand gently. Giving it a light kiss, as if to say, wound all better.
A bond shared between kindred. That will remain. You will each remain on each other's mind until the blood bond is lost or you return to dust, whichever comes first. And that, I believe, we will call an end to the session.
Woo! Just as well, because my medication is beginning to kick my butt.
That's a rough ending to the Chronicle, I won't lie. Or, not the Chronicle, but like that particular session.
Yeah.
I don't have feelings, you have feelings, fuck you.
I don't have feelings, you have
that.
feelings, fuck you.
I think we have our best scene, guys.
Oh, just slightly.
Well, we do have some
It's either that or Shriek
deliberations.
sitting in the back of an Uber holding a fucking sugar glider and
Well, let's deliberate on some other things first. I believe we have no stains, so that's good, right? Nobody has stains.
Yeah.
Everybody can recover willpower if they work towards their ambition or their desire today. So there's that.
Surprisingly, I think I actually hit Anna's ambition.
Hell yeah, get it.
Become the heart of the domain.
Hell yeah. I would 100% say that that is an ambition achieved.
Yay!
Since we are going to be transitioning
not what
to
I-
Aaron.
Yeah, it's not what I expected, but it's what I got.
Hey, there you go.
I have no complaints.
No complaints. Now we can move on to some experience. So everybody gets one. I had all 4 cast members today, so woo!
Yay!
Woo!
Love it.
Love it. Love to see it. I'm glad to be back because that's. Whew. I knew today was gonna
Been a bit
be
hectic.
was gonna be good on the feels, good on the politics, and all the source. So wanted to give you guys the best of me so that you can do the best of you. So
good on the costume changes. God damn.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I just love the first time when you transition Aaron, you just slowly slide out of frame, taking your collar off. And I was trying to buy you time.
I didn't even notice.
Oh my god, that's why I was dying laughing.
Fantastic.
Coffee, it is worth going back and watching the VOD
Hell
because
yeah.
it is fucking great.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna do it. Right. But that being said, we do have our roleplay prompts, and of course, the audience gets to pick their favorite as well, because you all get to meddle a little bit into the progression of our characters today. So, and Spectre, any experience that you get tonight, whether it's with Anna or with Aaron for the scene or whatever, you're going to be applying to Aaron instead, since we're retiring Anna. So, who moved our plot?
I think Shriek.
Yeah.
He had his finger in a lot of pies tonight and a lot of moving and stuff.
He did kind of wiggle those fingers in a lot of pies, didn't he?
Yeah. Wiggle, wiggle.
I was going to say
Wiggle.
either Shriek or Alex. Because Alex made a lot of moves with
It's true.
Wasi and maintaining their position,
It's true.
even if they're not actually titled with it. It's still a matter of maintaining that we are vital to the function of this domain. You can't just push us out. We are the core of this. And if you want things to work, you need to work with us.
Alright, I cast my vote for this. I'm sorry, I have to run to the bathroom real quick, Coffee.
Okay.
I am personally feeling I'm gonna have to go with politics to Alex, because I feel like a lot of what she did say carried the ongoing plans and was very well built off of. That is with I have future votes, so let's carry on.
All right. Well, Derek, what do you think?
I think Alex.
Okay. Alex it is. Shriek gets an honorable mention because he did do a lot of things today.
He really
He did.
Best scene.
Do we even really need to? That scene between Shriek and Anna was just choice.
Yes, but
pass
which
it to
one?
I forfeit to Shriek
Okay.
on that, because in general, Shriek has had a lot of my favorite scenes this entire session. Just the constant fucking talking to Keller. I fucking felt Shriek's anger. I was like, this son of a bitch! It was so hard to be neutral as Aaron, because it was just like, oh god, I want to punch him. I want to fucking punch him. I want to put all those dots in Brawl and Potency. I just want to beat the shit out of this guy. Right here in the middle of Elysium.
One of us. Alex is like, at least one of us has to maintain some kind of cool head here.
I hope that Keller is somebody you love to hate.
Oh, absolutely.
God, he really does have the pervy old man thing going on, and I like.
It makes me cringe actually playing him. So I love to hate him too.
He is very slimy.
He is slimy. He's meant to be.
But also, that final scene was just bruh.
My heart. Okay. Yeah, I think that one steals it. I think Alex, you were or Mox, you were saying what?
Shriek for best scene.
Shriek for best scene. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Derek, unless you have some arguments otherwise.
No, I really don't. But I still, well, I'll save that meme till later.
Well, Shrink got the audience favorite, so you got that too.
Oh,
The audience loves Shriek.
a while since I stole that one.
Yeah. That was Ravenstar contributed 4,000 points to making sure that you got it. So, thank you, Raven. Much appreciated. And
Heart
now,
emoji, bullshit with the hands, you know the drill.
yeah. Throw some
Not
coffee.
like a hair baka.
Bucket. Throw some coffee hearts in the chat for Derek, and for Raven. Now the best line.
I don't think it's ever too large, Shriek. I was proud of that line.
I'm gonna give it to you.
It just fucking came out of nowhere. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's a thing now.
Yep, that's a thing that Alex said.
Acceptable.
Acceptable. I think we're going with it.
Yeah, it's acceptable.
Okay. Alex gets the best
Thank you, guys.
Yay! So,
I'm gonna have to put another dot in politics.
yeah, you are. I know you're gonna do it. Well, that does it for us here on CoffeeCat Presents with the lovely cast of Blood and Iron, Dead Man's Hand. And the Dead Man's Hand coterie is, while two members short, is increasing its number anyway, in the case of Aaron and Dorian. So, we will find out more about what this coterie is going to get up to now that they have the freedom to not be Primogen next Wednesday. So we'll be doing more of that on Wednesday, of course, and then we also have our D&D on Saturdays. So for Rebirth, the D&D Tale is another show that we also put on here. All of that is posted to YouTube, and you can always go and check that out. And if you're on YouTube and you found us by YouTube, give us a follow here on Twitch, because I know that there are a couple more of you coming out of the woodwork on YouTube. So if you're not following on Twitch, you should. Twitch.tv/CoffeeCatPresents. So, with that being said, we're going to find somebody to raid, and then, obviously, we're going to say goodnight and do whatever else we're going to do for the rest of the night. For me, it's probably going to be sleeping. So.
Me too, though.
Yes, you have recently taken things that will make you sleepy. So let's find somebody to raid. So say goodnight, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
I'm coming for you, killer.